Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel. If you're brand new, thanks for checking out one of my videos. Hopefully, by the end of the video, you'll be a subscriber. If you're already a subscriber, as always, thanks for watching another one of my videos. You're a bunch of absolute legends, and while you're all here together, why not smash that like button, help support me, the video and the channel. Thank you very much. And welcome to episode 3 in my awesome series. The series where we take lesser footballing nations, we give them a better youth rating, we upgrade all their training facilities, especially their youth facilities, we pump a bit of money into the country, and we try and make the nation a top 10 nation, whilst also trying to improve their domestic game. Now, in episode 1, we did this experiment with Scotland and we nearly got there. We nearly got them into the top 10, we got them to 14. In episode 2, we went to Australia. We got them to 12th. This time I thought, let's do America. Why not? Because when I look at my channel, my second biggest viewership is from America. So I thought I'd do it for you guys. I'll try and make your nation a top 10 nation. We've got 10 years to do it. So we're going to jump 10 years into the future to the year 2028. And hopefully we'll see if we can get the Americans on top of the world. Yep. Before we do that, why not check out all my other content? I've got a series with Denton Villa. I've got a Journeyman series that comes out once a week, and I've got many other videos you may enjoy. Right then, let's get into this one. Welcome to a standard database on Football Manager 2019, and welcome to the US of A. God bless America. Right, we all know about America. Great country, I love it. Last 2 games for 17 and 18, I've made my own database called the APL, where I've completely restructured American soccer. Right, this time I'm not doing that this year. It's a lot of work. I can't be bothered. But what I'll have to do with this is do a little bit of restructuring, and I'll tell you what I've done in a minute. But just like the other 2 episodes, we've upped the youth rating to maximum, so they should produce good regens. All the teams have got state-of-the-art youth facilities, so they should be producing good regens and helping train good regens. And the teams have all got a regular cash injection to help maintain the facilities and also bring some good players in, because we want to not just boost the country, we want to boost the domestic competition as well. And we all know about the Americans' domestic competition. It's a bit weird. If you've ever played the MLS, it's a bit strange. You've got a salary cap, lots of different contracts, different weird rules. It just can't be normal, can they? They can't be normal. So I've made it a bit normal. We're just going to have the Major League as a 23-team league. All the teams out of the 2 conferences in one league. But because it's America, I've put my own little American twist on it. The top 4 teams go into a playoff. They love playoffs in America, don't they? You can't just win a league. You can't just be top of it and win it. You've got to go into a playoff. So we've got the MLS, like I said, 23-team league. It's going to have a 4-team playoff. You win the playoff, you win the league. So you can sneak into 4th and still win the MLS title. We've got the MLS Cup as well, which is like the FA Cup. And we've got the MLS Supporters Shield, which I've turned into a community shield, where the winner of the league and the winner of the cup play at the start of each season. I've also built a super stadium for the country to call home as well. But before we get into all that, we need to look at what it's like right now. Let's see where the Americans are in the world, and let's have a look at some of its teams. Unlike the Scots and the Aussies, we're starting a bit higher here with America. They're actually in 22nd place in the world, which is pretty good, really. I've got a chance this might be our first top 10 team. Now, you might have noticed there's no manager in place. Now, when I looked on Wikipedia, there is apparently a guy called Greg. Can't say his second name. But this is an updated database. Not that updated if they haven't still got a manager in place. So there isn't a manager at the minute, not to worry. But let's have a look at some of their good players. One thing about a lot of good American players is they seem to go and play in Germany. The Germans like an American. One of their best players is John Brooks. 24-year-old centre-half, played for Hertha Berlin, he's now at Wolfsburg, and he's good. And I think this is going to be the theme, similar to the other 2 countries. They have good players. We want great players. We want awesome players. Next up is, of course, one of the game's best wonder kids. Everyone's touting this lad to be something special. He's 19, can play all over midfield, can even do a little cheeky job up front. Got a lot of potential, hasn't he? Plays for Dortmund. I think he's got a deal in place to go somewhere else in the summer. But yeah, good player. Next up is Barbie Wood. Brilliant name, that. Brilliant American name. Good wholesome American name. 25, years old, played 39 times for America, great physicals, good player. He's good. Played all over Germany as well. Over to the Major League, and this is the standard Major League. It's all set up with its salary cap and its 2 conferences and all that complex jargon that goes with it. At the minute, it's the second best league in the Americas, I'm assuming, with Mexico at the top. Not really much competition with Canada, Honduras and Costa Rica and all that. So it's not going to be hard to get the MLS to the top. So obviously you win your conference, you go through to the MLS Cup. So when you look at Major League Soccer's history, this is what happens. So when we restructure it, we're starting again. This history is going to be wiped because the MLS Cup is now a standard FA Cup. Do you get where I'm going? Do you get what I've done? Yeah? Good. So at the minute, this is how it is. And the current champions are Toronto. But I don't want to look at Toronto. I'm going to look at a team that we all know. And that is LA Galaxy. Why not? David Beckham used to play for him. I like a bit of Galaxy. They're managed by Dominic Kinnear. This is Dominic, average at best. 50-year-old American. Doesn't look very American. Looks like he's from Stoke-on-Trent, but he's American. Their best player is of course, an absolute legend. I love him. I'm a Man United fan. That one season with us was out of this world, crazy good. And I like him. I love him. Great player. And he's still a great player. Probably the best player in the MLS. But this is what we want. We want players like this who are 24, 25 and American. Let's have a cheeky look at Atlanta United because they're a new team. I think they've just won it in real life, which is brilliant. It's super rich as it is. They've got a good manager as well. Tata Martino. I think that's how you say his name, but he's been Argentina manager, Barcelona manager. You know, he's good, especially for this league. But again, this is where I like to see an improvement. You want top quality managers coming to the MLS. Now, Atlanta's best player is, of course, Almiron, who has just signed for Newcastle in real life. But Sports Interactive have not updated their database yet. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I think he's a good player. It shows you MLS. The MLS is getting better anyway, I think, in real life. But we want it to be awesome. Their hot prospect is George Bello, 15. He's American, even though he looks about 28 years old. Left back. He's not a world beater. And let's have a quick look at one of their worst teams in the MLS, according to the bookies on the game. And mainly because I like a bit of New England and they've just won the Super Bowl. So we're going to look at the New England Revolution, who have got Brad Friedel, legendary goalkeeper, as their manager. You know what? He ain't bad. I like to see Brad, who ain't bad, still in the MLS in 10 years. We'll have to have a look at that, but he's not done bad. He's not done bad as he's been the under-19s manager. God, he played forever, didn't he? He played for Spurs, Villa, Blackburn, Liverpool. He was a really, really good goalkeeper. Now, their best player isn't too bad either, I think. He's called Christian Penila, Ecuadorian, and he's 25 years old. Decent, good, all-round player. Now, I also want to look at the North American Champions League, because this is where our teams are going to be going. Now, the current champions are Chivas, and it's dominated by Mexico. Now, Toronto have got to final, Montreal have as well. Wales Salt Lake a few years ago. So that's a couple of final appearances from MLS teams. Even though 2 of them MLS teams aren't even American, they're Canadian. It is what it is. We want to dominate this as well. We want America to take over the Champions League. Well, that's what we're going to do. I've put everything in place. We've got the database ready to rock and roll. I've holidayed 10 years into the future. We need to get to 2028 and let's see if the things have worked. I will make that save file available for you as well. I might even make the start of this one available. If you want to go on a full American journey in a world without salary caps and stupid rules, let me know and I'll do it for you. Welcome to 2028, and this is a surprise. America is 23rd in the world. We've gone backwards. How's that even a thing? How is that even a thing? I mean, they've dropped low. How is that a thing? So even though they've got high youth ratings, a new league system, it's not really worked for the country. They must be producing good players, and we're going to find out in a minute, but it's just Scotland and Australia have jumped from lower spots to big spots. I really believed we were going to get in the top 10. What's also a bit pants is the manager's a regen, and not only is he a regen, he's really bad. Hector Duran, 51-year-old. He is crap. What's he doing as American manager? So let's have a look at some of the players. And first up, I want to look at George Bello because, of course, we looked at him 10 years ago. And he's in the squad. He's now worth 34 million on 82 grand a week. And he plays for Liverpool, so that's a really good thing because he's a real player. Nothing we changed him. And he's become a good left back. But let's look at some of the regions, the players that have come through the new system in America. And when players like this, I'm surprised they're not a top 10 nation. The first lad we're going to look at is Patrick Woods, the right winger. He's 25 years old. He plays for City. He plays for Chelsea. He did play for City. He played for Paris Saint-Germain, and he started life at Los Angeles Football Club. And he's a great winger. And he's been about the block a bit, hasn't he? Awesome player. Next up is the centre half, Nick Smith. Great name. 22 years old. And he plays for Barcelona. He's played for Benfica. He's been at Mexico, playing for a team in Mexico. He come from New York. Awesome physicals. Look at them physicals. 22, so he's still got room to get better. Let's check out Christian. He's not a regen, of course. He's a real player, but he's the big wonder kid. Everyone goes on about him all the time. He's now at Paris Saint-Germain. He was at City. He's played at Colorado and Bayern Munich. Really? Bayern Munich? He left Dortmund for Munich. Always nicking Dortmund's players, aren't they? Then he went to Colorado, so he actually came to America for a while. And then he went to City, now he's at Paris. 29 years old. He doesn't excite me. When I look at his attributes, he doesn't excite me. Last player we want to look at, because I could look at loads of these, is a guy who plays for us. So he's called Raymond Garcia. He's 24. He's a left back. Pretty good player. He's been in Germany. Started at Atlanta United. And honestly, I've looked through the list. There's a lot of great regions, to be fair. Same as the other two episodes of Scotland and Australia. You could do something special with America. So obviously we started with no manager in place. Well, Marcelo Lippi, he must have been about 400 years old. He came in for 3 years. We had Dave van der Berg for a year. Then we had Tab Ramos. And now we've got this geezer. I don't know how he's got the job. But when it comes to tournaments, not won anything huge like the World Cup. But Tab won something. He won the North American Nations League. And Lippi won something. It says Confederation Cup playoff. So nothing huge. Maybe you can. Maybe you can bring a World Cup to America. So there we go. That's the country. Disappointing with its world rankings. I'm not disappointed with its regions. They've got some great players that you could really get. You could put a great team together seriously and do something pretty special if you want to do that. But I think it's time to have a look at its domestic game. This is the Major League. The Major League I changed into a 23-team league. You'll see the top 4 spaces there. So you could creep in here and still win a title. We'll have a look if that's happened. That'd be pretty cool. As for the league itself, it's now the best league in the Central Americas. It was second. It's now overtaken Mexico. Because it bloody should have. Because there's some freaking money in the MLS these days. Right then, let's have a quick skim through to see if it actually happened. Because I think it's, you know, I think if you win the league, you should win the league. But I just thought, it's America. They like a playoff. Let's give them a playoff. So the first ever league, Atlanta won it. But New York won the playoff. Check that out. Next year, Seattle, 3rd team, won it. Again. So basically, come 3rd and you'll win the league. Easy peasy. Atlanta won it finally. Brilliant. DC United, look at that. DC United crept in there on 4th. They could have done that the last game of the season, couldn't they, if you look at them points. And managed to win the title. A lot of different teams are winning it. It shows you it's competitive. If you want to play this, let me know, because it's not going to be an easy league. Everyone seems to be able to beat everybody. Next year, LA won it. Finally, a team who won the league, who won the title. Fair dues. Atlanta got another one. Then Orlando did it. Orlando City. Fair enough. Sporting Kansas. Vancouver. We're getting a pattern now, aren't we? And that's it. So, that's pretty fun. It'd be fun. If you won the league, though, and then you get into the playoffs and lost, that wouldn't be fun. Now, obviously, I changed the MLS Cup into an actual cup. Standard cup competition that takes place throughout the season, just like any other cup, like the FA Cup and so on. And you can tell when it started because we started playing the final in the country's new Superdome, which is situated in New York City. It's got to be on it, the Big Apple. So you'll see here, Sporting Kansas won the first one. LA, New York, other New York, Atlanta, Portland, Chicago, Dallas, Columbus. Different winner every year. So not only is the league competitive, so's the cup. This is a fun league to play in, I bet. Then onto the Supporters Shield. I'm not 100% sure what this is. I've just used the title and its logos and turned it into a Community Shield. So if you win the league, you play the winner of the MLS Cup at the start of the season in a Super Cup competition. And these are the winners, starting with Seattle. You see there for yourself. I might have to have a little personal save for this, you know. I also added youth leagues for you if you want to play it. And there's an under-23 league, you'll see that here. I also put an under-23 cup. There's an under-18s league and an under-18s cup. So you've got plenty of room to grow your kids through the system before they get into the first team. Of course, I want to look at the Champions League to see what happened with this. And because the Americans had never won it. So starting here, they did. Seattle, New York, Seattle, LA, Atlanta, New England, Atlanta, Dallas. Now, the Mexicans have sneaked in with one. Cheeky Mexicans. And then Vancouver have won it. So, the money and the facilities and new players coming through the system, the ability to bring in better foreigners and pay them a good wage has obviously made the MLS a better league, resulting in Champions League victories. And you may or may not know, but a little cool touch in the game, and I think it's hard-coded because I've never been able to change it or remove it. I've even changed its name once in the editor, and it just changes it back. Is the Canadian Championship, where all the Canadian teams, even the ones in the MLS and some of the ones based back home in Canada, playing a little tournament. So that's still here, that's still part of the game. So if you're a Canadian team, you get the opportunity to win an extra trophy. Let's have a look at the job list, the manager's list. Let's just see if there's any big names stand out straight away. And I can see a few. A lot of foreign managers. Patrick Vieira's at Orlando City. David Moyes is at Houston. Karanka's here, he's at Seattle. So there's some good names. I think the manager level's definitely increased. All the teams are still rich as well, which they should be, because there's a good TV deal in place. There's a good individual TV deal in place for every club, and there's a commercial income guaranteed every year for each club, which is in the hundreds of millions. So plenty of dollars to spend in America. Let's have a look at a few teams, and we'll look at the Galaxy first, managed by David Patino. Now, one thing I've noticed with the Galaxy, they're not that rich, and I don't know if they've spent their money wisely because the squad isn't packed with high-value players, but they have got some good players. And their best player is called Carlo Lektica, I think his name is. 31-year-old Croatian. He's pretty good, to be fair. I mean, he's a young lad at the start of the game, but he's turned into a pretty good player. Skipping over to Atlanta United, one of the biggest teams in the country, with one of the biggest names as their manager, Mauricio Pochettino, awesome manager. They're still rich and they've got a lot of good players. Their highest value player is a regen, another real player. Another lad who'll be a young kid at the start of the game, and it is Nicolo Zaniolo. Nicolo Zaniolo. Nicolo Zaniolo, please report to reception. Hop on over to New England, up to Boston, and they're managed by Peter Vermes, and they're not super rich either. They've got a great stadium, although they only use 24,000 seats. That's rubbishly empty, that, on game day. Their best player is a regen. He's Argentinian, he's 27 years old, and he is pretty good, to be fair. Worth 22 million. Great physicals. Left winger. I like him. Now, this are the stadiums in the MLS, and in the past, when I've made American databases, I've changed a lot of them. Brought a lot of NFL stadiums into the game, because a lot of NFL stadiums are on the database, sat there doing nothing. A lot of NFL stadiums are being used right here, you can see. Now, I didn't change any because I thought there's a lot of good stadiums, and I wanted to see if any of them would either buy their own stadium or build a new one if they needed to. No one's built a new stadium, it is what it is. But still, there are some great facilities in this league. Now, this list is a short list, a search for players who are 21 and under, who aren't American but are based in America. The values aren't crazy amazing, but there's a couple of decent players, you know. First one is Stephen Brunel, who is a Canadian, 20 years old, great physicals, right winger, still got loads of years to improve, great technique, got the basis to be a great player. He's actually got a bidding for him. Is he staying in the country or is he going abroad? Bids from Arsenal, Hertha Berlin, that shows you the kind of quality. So, you know, not just American regions are going to come through the system, you're going to get a few from different countries, and this is one of them. Now, one good thing doing it this way than what I've done in the last few years, what I've made the American Premier League, is a lot less work to do. So you can just use the MLS like I've used. You can go in the editor and rebuild the nation's rules, but instead of rebuilding all its leagues and making your own, you can just use the ones that are in place. And when you use the ones that are in place, all its awards and stuff like that stay attached to it, and you don't have to make all the awards. I've spent hours making awards, so obviously all the real awards are still here. So you can go in the Major League, look, you got Comeback Player of the Year, MLS Goalkeeper of the Year, brilliant. I forgot about this, I didn't realise this had happened. Golden Boot, Humanitarian of the Year. Bloody honestly, the Americans with their awards. I mean, I just watched the NFL awards recently, and the Green Bay Packers quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, great player, he's just won Moment of the Year. Moment of the Year award. Dead chuffed with it he was. Well, there we go, that is the end of Making America Awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to smash the like button, and hopefully I've inspired you to have a go in this world. Again, like I said, if you want the database, give me a shout and I might make it available on Steam. I will definitely be putting the 2028 save file down below if you want to jump in 2028 and have a go there. But it was a bit of fun. I'll be honest with you, I'm disappointed with the nation itself. Great players, weird choice in manager though, and the fact they're only 23rd in the world, I think's a massive disappointment. It should be well better than that, really, because they've got some great players out there to make them better, a lot better than they used to have. But when it comes to its domestic game, I think that's definitely improved. They've taken over the American Champions League. There's a lot better players and a lot better managers in the MLS. A lot of good regions from all around the Americas in the league, and I think it'd be a lot more fun to play it than the original MLS. Some people like it. I know it's got a lot of challenges in MLS, but I like the romance side of playing in America. I love the culture of that country. I love its teams. I just get very frustrated with the original MLS. That's why I always usually make an alternative. So yeah, if you do have a goal, let me know. But thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it and you've not seen the others, go and watch the Scotland and Australia versions and go and check out all the other content. I really would appreciate that. You've been brilliant. I love you a long time. I've been Bood. I'll see you for the next one.